Hey friends, what's up? Welcome back to my podcast. I am still not quite sure what I want to name this. Tentatively, it's Car Talks with Shane, but I also want to name it Chikahan with Shane, which chika means chat in our language, which is Tagalog from the Philippines, if you guys didn't know about that already. But yeah, today we are in another location. We are in Dapto. And I have around an hour before I have to see my client. So this is the perfect time to sit and chat with you guys. So in this episode, I want to share to you our permanent residency journey and how we were almost sent back home to the Philippines. And I hope that you keep on watching so that you don't make the same mistakes that we did. So I have my notebook here with the timeline of everything. It's quite a long list. So let's start from the very beginning. We arrived here in Australia on November 2021 under the 4A2 medium-term visa. And in this visa, I think they changed it now to something else, but in our time, I feel so old just saying that, but in our time, you have to wait at least 2 to 3 years before you are sponsored for the permanent residency visa, which is the 186 temporary transition something pathway, 186 TRT visa. So on March 18, 2025, our employer lodged the nomination to sponsor us. And then a month later, on April 29, 2025, that's when we submitted our own 186 application. We chose not to seek help because we didn't have enough budget for it. And that was our mistake number one. But at the time, we really didn't have the budget for someone to help us with our application, and we thought, okay, we did our 482 alone, surely we can do the 186. Anyway, on May 3, 2025, we were able to schedule an appointment for medical, which is such a godsend because usually it takes you anywhere from a month to 3 months before, but I feel like it's also because most people at the time, it was during COVID, so it wasn't that available. There were too many people applying for visas, but then not a lot of facilities were open. But anyway, on the 6th of May, mine and my husband's medical was cleared, and on the 8th, our daughter's medical was cleared. And then it was a long waiting game until the 1st of July, we got the approval for the nomination. Now, other people wait for the nomination first before lodging their visa, but in our case, we didn't wait. So that might have been our mistake number 2. Anyway, on the 13th of August, that was when my husband's 482 visa expired, so his bridging visa A got approved. And on September 14, that's when mine and my daughter's bridging visa A got approved because our 482 visa officially expired. And then on September 16, because of family matters, we requested for them to give us a bridging visa B, which allows us to go out of the country. So if you're on the bridging visa A, you're not allowed to move out, to just travel out of the country at the time. So thank goodness I gave them a call and I explained the situation, and I applied for the bridging visa B, and it was granted on the same day. So I think it only took maybe 2 hours. They were so kind about it. And then on the 17th of October, we received our first S56. Now, at this point, we were hoping that this wasn't going to happen, but unfortunately, we got the S56. So they required an English requirement for me, proof of genuine relationship for my husband, and I think that I needed to give them like a document just stating that they're able to give a visa for my daughter, just to say that I have sole guardianship over my daughter, right? So I gave them the same English requirements I gave for my husband, I gave for me as well, because they accepted my husband's. And I had to provide a timeline of our relationship, all the way from text messages, like how far back we go, all of that. I had to really dig up a lot of our old text messages. And then for my daughter, we were able to use the document that we gave during the 482 visa application for subsequent entrance. So that was all clear. So we thought that was it. On 20th of October, we submitted the S56. And then a month later, we thought that was over. A month later, we received the second S56. So on the 17th of November, we received the second S56. And this was when things started to go down. I'll take you back to the very beginning for a little bit there. But when we applied for our application for the 186, there was no indication that I had to give an English test. Usually, in the attached documents section, they tell you what you need to provide. There was no indication that I had to give an English test. They gave, there was, however, indication for my husband to prove that he has functional English. So that's why we gave a letter from our school and a letter from our employer stating that we use English day to day, and that we are able to communicate effectively. So his was accepted, but mine wasn't. The immigration officer gave me a letter and said that you have to provide an English test, and the English test has to be dated before you submit the application. And if you're not able to provide said English test, you might be grounds for refusal for the application. And once our visa gets refused, we have, I think, at least 30 days to get our affairs in order, and then we have to go back to the Philippines. We have to move out of the country and submit another application there, and then move back in. So that's what internet was telling us. And when we called online too, when we called the immigration, that's what they told us too. So I was panicking. This was the time of our lives that I was really, really panicking, and it really tested my faith. But I was clinging to my husband. I was clinging to God, because there was no way we could have done anything. So we called a friend who is an immigration advisor, and she gave us several options. One was to get our employer to sponsor my husband, and another was just to wait for the refusal and then raise it up with tribunal, which is also very costly. So she said, either way, take an English test and then just submit it. Hope for the best, and then see how we go, and then we'll just react after that once we hear back from the immigration. So that was November 17. That same day, my husband and I signed up for the Pearson English exam, and on the 19th we took our PTE exam. So we had less than 24 hours to practice, because we still had work the next day and we were already panicking, but we thought, oh, surely we can do it, right? So on the same day, that was the 19th, on the same day, we went to our employer. We sent a very long message to our employer apologizing for this inconvenience, and then letting him know what our what our situation was, and then asking if it was okay for him to sponsor my husband. And my employer just called immediately. Like, I called a few minutes later because he was just finishing something. So he was calling and then tell me what's going on, what is happening. And then he was very upset, but not towards us, but towards the situation, towards immigration, because like, are they seriously threatening to refuse your visa on a technicality, on an English test, just for an English test? And we said, yep. And he said, nope, not gonna have it. Nope. He said, give me all your details, give me everything, give me a timeline of everything that's happened so far, what the immigration officer told you. And then we gave him everything. And then we added that, yes, we didn't provide the English test, even though we knew it was in the requirements. In like, there's like an information page before you apply, and they said that you have to give an English test. But because they didn't specify it in the attached documents, I didn't give it. But absolutely my fault. And I told this to my employer that this is my fault, and like, I am ready to face the consequence for it, but I'm hoping for a little bit of grace. So I said, yep, no, like, not gonna have it, like, let me handle this. So I thought, so we felt really comforted, and we felt very happy, and I don't know, it was just a very weird feeling, good weird. Because we didn't expect our employer to go above and beyond for us, and above and beyond he did. He sent an email to our local MP and asked them for help, and the MP didn't reply until a few days later. So that was on the 19th, right? The very next day, so 19th was when we sent the letters to the MP. So on the 20th, the results of our PTE came out, and both my husband and I scored like the highest score, and our boss immediately sends it to the MP and says, like, this is what they got. How can you say that they're going to be asked to leave the country with scores like this, something like that. And then that afternoon, a representative from the MP contacted us and emailed back saying, yes, absolutely, we're gonna help. We're going to email the MP of immigration. So that was on the 20th, and we didn't hear a lot after that. We tried to contact the MP every week or so, just saying, hey, like, do you have any updates for us? And say, no, we haven't heard back from immigration until the 3rd of December. So on the 3rd of December, the immigration replied to MP, which then the MP forwarded the reply to us, and it was very unhelpful. It was essentially what they told us over the phone, that we can't do anything, our hands are tied, and that is what it is. We can't give any leniency towards the situation. And at this point, I was spiraling, because I said, okay, this is it. I think we're going back home to the Philippines. I was already looking for a job in New Zealand, because there's an option for us to move back there. So I was not doing well. But my husband, he knew that, my husband's so great. Like, he has been the rock towards all of this, and he was always the one letting me know, okay, God's in control, whatever happens, we're together. Like, don't beat yourself up over it. It's all gonna work out. And I know he was also low-key panicking, but like, he really went above and beyond too. Like, that man is so great. So that was on December 3. On the 5th of December, which is my husband's birthday, the MP the local MP decided to speak directly with the immigration MP, and that's what she just wrote a letter stating that this is what I plan to do because we're gonna see each other in a few days. I'm going to raise your case with him, and then I'll let you know how that goes. And then we didn't hear anything back, and my employer was already saying that, oh, like, how can they do this? And then he was sending them, our employer's just really good. Like, he said, don't worry about it, like, we'll figure it out. If they won't help us with this, we'll escalate this with a different MP and all that. He was very nice, and we were sort of panicking because this, like, if we went with how often the immigration contacted us, they contacted us every 17th of the month, and by that point it was nearing the 17th. So we would know that on the 17th it's either we get the refusal, or maybe they'll give us more time to sort something else out. But on the 12th of December, somebody calls us, and here in Australia, you get a lot of spam calls. So my phone has a setting that it blocks out any unknown numbers. And I got a message from one of our admin at work. And then they said, hey, this person from immigration says that he's been trying to contact you. Just letting you know, he'll call you at 3 o'clock. And I got the message at around 2:45, 2:50. So, oh my gosh, I was panicking. And then, so I removed the setting from my phone, and then I got the call, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and this man was so kind, and he said that, hey, we really can't do anything with your situation with this application because it is the rules. And we said, oh, like, we know, we understand it is our fault, but is there anything that we can do? And then he said that, okay, like, I'll let you know what you're gonna do. He said that technically with your nomination you have 6 months, and that our nomination would have expired on the 1st of January. So he said, you have until the 1st of January to lodge another application, complete with all your application and all that. And then once you've submitted that new application, you just send an email to this email so that they can expedite your application. And then in that same email, you can request for a refund. So we were so happy. My God, I was crying. I was bawling my eyes out because how amazing is that? Like, I really believe that God really worked there because, like, what do you mean? Like, no, not even the immigration officer was able to let us know that this was an option. And I didn't want to stay in this country by pulling strings. And I know that was what we were doing. We were sort of pulling strings along, but I wanted to be able to stay in this country legally, not because somebody gave us favor or what, you know what I mean. So the fact that we were able to go through another route that is within what is legal and what is true here, it was such a humbling moment for sure. And so on the 15th we lodged our new application, and then we had to wait for our new bridging visa to come in, which was on the 24th of December. And at that time, that's when we withdrew our first application. And then on the 25th, we submitted the request for a refund. And then on the 2nd of January, we received confirmation at 10 in the morning. We received confirmation that the first application was officially withdrawn. And at 3 in the afternoon, almost 4, I think it was mostly 4, before it was just, here's what happened. I was driving from my friend's house. We were on our way to pickleball, and I went back home to pick up my husband. And while waiting for him and Sam to come out of the house, I was just checking my email randomly, and there I saw the golden email. We got our grant. And yeah, it was such a wild time. And that is how we got our permanent residency visa. So, main takeaway from all this, I know I was stuttering a lot and there was a lot of information, but my main takeaway from this is always err on the side of caution. Like, always just be sure. I was always under the impression that don't give documents if they don't ask for it, but just give them. Just be prepared. If you don't want to give them anything, just be prepared for them to give it to you. Or if not, if you have the means to do so, seek help from a lawyer and immigration, one of those immigration advisors, because they will save you a lot of dollars. At this time, it's the 3rd of February. We still haven't heard back in terms of our refund, but hopefully very soon they'll give us a refund, because it is very expensive. But yeah, that was a lot of rambling. But I hope you guys enjoyed that ramble, and I hope that you learned from it. If you have any immigration scary stories, please feel free to drop them down below. And yeah, can't wait to read them all. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.